ladies and gentlemen, my thanks to everybody on the program. Tomorrow, Susan Sarandon will be here, Mark Messier, and Al Green. Do me a favor now, stay tuned for Tom Snyder on The Late Late Show, his guest, Kelsey Grammer, and fired congressional historian Christina Jeffrey. Why couldn't we get her? Good night, everybody!
Hey, hey, Hans. Roseanne, weekdays at 5 on 19.
And good evening, folks. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Tom, and this is the simulcast up and running now for January 12, 1995. Tonight's drill is Kelsey Grammer and Christina Jeffrey, the lady you read about who lost her job because she said some things about the Holocaust, and she was fired by Newt Gingrich, the new Speaker of the House. So that is tonight's drill, and on paper, this looks to be a good one. I want to go back here to Monday night and the appearance by the Bickersons, Mr. and Mrs. Gingrich, okay? Some of the boys and girls in the press wrote that the interview really didn't contain much substance and that Snyder avoided talking about Connie Chung and the whole brouhaha last week. And what I forgot to tell you on Monday night was that the Bickersons told our producer that if I brought up the name of Connie Chung, they were out of here. And I should have mentioned that, and as I was doing the interview, I started thinking about the possibility of the reviews coming in and being negative, and I got this little bead of perspiration right here. Now, what you have to understand is when I perspire anywhere, the sweat alarm goes off in the control room. They have my entire body wired for perspiration of any kind. I mean, God forbid that I would sweat on camera. It's amazing they let me breathe out here, for heaven's sake. So the next morning, we added sweat to the seemingly endless amount of topics that we have meetings about here on the simulcast. We now had the sweat meeting every afternoon. So last night, the fair Kelly came out. It'd be Kelly Greer, the makeup technician for the simulcast, and she started putting some stuff here on my lip, and it was cold and clammy and runny. It was like cold snot, you know. It wasn't pleasant. And I said, Kelly, I said, why are we putting that on my face? She said, well, it's because of the moisture. I said, excuse me? She said, you know, the moisture. I said, you mean I'm sweating? She said, yeah, you're sweating, and they don't want you to sweat. So I came in this morning and I thought, you know, everybody else has called a sweat meeting. I might as well have one too. So I said, sweat meeting, and they all came in. And I said to them, I said, you know, I have this problem that whenever I'm uncomfortable or whenever it's too warm, I'm very, very sensitive, and I do tend to perspire right here. And I said, I'm sorry about that, but I'm only human. You know, I occasionally pass gas. I do all kinds of things that normal human beings do, and it works for me in my life. It's okay. I said, but let me ask you a question. I said, you know, we have air conditioning in the studio. It's about, what, in here, 65, 68, somewhere in there. But it's always warmer where I sit because the lights are on. I said, now we have this enormous studio, and we have tons of air conditioning, and we have an air conditioning duct in each corner of the studio, front and back. I said, why wouldn't we put an air conditioning vent over my chair, and the cold air would fall down, and I would be cool and comfortable? And you want to know what the answer was? You want to believe this one? You want to write this one down? They said, well, we couldn't do that, because then your microphone would pick up the sound of the air conditioning. I mean, are these people from Guam? Are they from Mars? Do they understand? I mean, do the Bickersons sit at home and they say, oh, well, Tom's got the AC running, shut it off? I mean, do you folks at home turn off the furnace when we come on so you can hear the show? I don't think so. And by the way, I don't even want to start on the mic cord. Don't get me going on the mic cord. And the table's too small, and I'd bring that up too, but I can't stand any more meetings. We'll be right back with Kelsey Grammer. Thank you all for watching, and come right back after these messages, and for God's sake, fire up a simultini. Now is the time if there ever was one. We're coming right back.
How much do you pay for a minute of long distance?
75 cents? 79 cents?
80 cents a minute.
I don't really know.
Well, now Sprint introduces a whole new way to save on long distance. Every evening and all weekend long, a minute is just 10 cents. It's that simple.
For 10 cents, huh?
Piece of candy. Cheaper than sending a postcard.
10 cents a minute. I wonder why no one ever thought of that before.
Call now for 10 cents a minute and get up to 100 minutes free.
How fast can you begin to feel relief from a cold? Depends. How fast can you open a Hall's with vapor action? Hall's vapor action means instant action, only from the halls of medicine.
Introducing the only candy made with the refreshing tart and sweet taste of ocean spray. All natural fruit waves when you're thirsty for a great candy.
Ever run into the kind of stubborn dirt that literally brings you to your knees? Now you can stop all that scrubbing. Introducing Ultra Mr. Clean. So powerful, just one little capful beats twice as much of this regular cleaner. And while they struggle with greasy dirt, Ultra Mr. Clean works so much better. He helps you up off your knees and still cleans to the shine. Try new Ultra Mr. Clean in Lemon, Pine, or Mountain Falls, and Mr. Clean it to the Ultra Shine.
It's the final days of the emergency markdown sale at Value City Furniture. All overstock 1994 merchandise must go now, regardless of cost or loss. Your choice of a dual reclining or leather mat sofa, not $800, now $498. Massive granite look entertainment center, not $450, now $297. 5-piece solid wood dinette in a rich golden oak finish, not $600, now $298. More sample special buyouts, even this 3-piece bar set with 30-inch stools, only $98. It all must be sold. Don't miss the emergency markdown sale at Value City Furniture.
One of America's brightest stars is here tonight. His name is Kelsey Grammer, Emmy Award winner for his work on the enormously popular television program Frasier, but above all, a survivor, a man who has gone through many events in his life to get where he is today, and I thank him for joining us here on TV late at night. Kelsey, welcome to the show. Welcome to CBS for an evening.
Thank you, Tom.
Let me ask you here about Frasier and leaving a series in which you're part of an ensemble, which was the case over at the enormously popular Cheers, and now you're the head guy. You're the star of the show, and upon your shoulders rests a lot of responsibility for his success. How tough was that for you?
Well, I had a great lesson in Ted Danson, actually, spending that much time with him. He handled carrying the mantle of Cheers brilliantly, and even through all the changes, you know, when Shelley left and all the
Kirsty came in,
that, and Kirsty coming in. Ted always kept his cool, and he never pulled a lot of attitude, and I had a great person to emulate there, and basically I felt like I was prepared to take on that burden.
Sure.
And,
I mean, you're an accomplished guy. You've studied acting. You know what you're doing.
It's been fun.
When you go through something like The Change, when Kirstie Alley came on board, does that do anything to a show? Does that create any kind of negative energy or any anxiety on the set?
That was probably the best thing that ever happened to Cheers.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, because Cheers went from being a hit, you know, a popular show, to being the #1 show in that year once she came in. And I thought it was the greatest opportunity in the world because they had an established audience, an established show, which had a chance to become a brand new show, basically, because the structure had to change.
The people who've seen Frasier say, you know, this is a role made for Kelsey Grammer. It is
well, it sort of goes both ways.
Yeah, I understand.
Sort
but
of
I mean,
made it.
but you are that guy.
Yeah,
I mean, you are him. He is he's part and parcel of your life. There's a great deal of you in that character.
Oh yeah, now there is.
And was it at the beginning or did it evolve into
No, it took in stages. Frasier and Kelsey have slowly gone along this sort of a path and wound up being more, you know, closely related to one another. He's like my alter ego now. I tend to be a lot more laid back than Frasier is and a little more relaxed about things. He's certainly more full of himself than I am, but he doesn't get into as much trouble as I do, so it's okay.
Speaking about troubles, it was said after you won the Emmy Award last year that you are the most incredible story at the Emmy Awards. You are a man who has seen No, seriously.
That's nice.
Well, you've seen tragedy in your life, you know. You lost your dad when you were a young man. Your sister was murdered. 2 half-brothers died under questionable circumstances. And we've all read about your bouts with substance, with alcohol.
Right.
And I don't want to dwell on this because I don't like to dwell on the negatives in people's lives, but how did you put all that stuff behind you? How did you, you know, I knew John Belushi, and Belushi never came to grips with it. Kelsey Grammer did.
That's an interesting question. Coming to grips with it. I don't know if you ever really completely come to grips with it. There's for instance, my sister, I didn't know my dad really all that well, but my sister, I still mourn her almost every day, you know, just even for just a second. But in terms of the drugs and stuff, I really enjoyed them. And you know, there was... I mean, come on, it was so much fun.
What's not to like?
I mean, come on, I was having a ball. I was Superman, you know, it was 3 days. But it slowly did corrupt my ability to maintain, you know what I mean? At first, it was like, wow, you know, man, this stuff, I don't have to sleep. I'm just fine.
Yeah, and I can eat all I want.
Right, and I'm still going.
I'm functioning. Ask me a question.
But it did come to a point when, in order to get clarity enough to where I wanted to make the next steps in my life, for instance, doing this kind of a thing, you know, carrying a show myself, I wanted to be more in charge of the choices I was making. And that was what I had lost. And so it came to be a choice that made sense, as well as I finally forgave God, or whatever you want to call it, for having abandoned me. My idea of...
Maybe it was other way around.
Yeah. And that's what I finally figured out. I finally relaxed about the idea, you know, he didn't, or she didn't, take these things from me. That's what life is. And that never went away, really. I just couldn't see it, and I didn't want to see it, and maybe that's what the drugs helped me to do.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I was just sitting here thinking about what you said about the fun, and back in the 70s, you know, those of us who worked at NBC, I mean, I think our drug of choice was marijuana at the time, but I mean, we used to, you know, smoke a little cigarette not manufactured by Philip Morris, and we had a blast. I mean, God, we'd go down to Haagen-Dazs and get tuna fish ice cream, or what? It was unbelievable. Terribly.
The pioneer days, yeah.
And did it get to a point, as it did with me, you realize all of a sudden you feel like you're losing control here. You're not making the right kind of choice.
And I wanted to get back to some sense of hope that I'd had before when I was younger. And I've gotten back there.
Good. When you were a kid, did you have a lot of hope?
Absolutely.
I know that you were born in...
I could see joy in a garbage can. I really could.
Yeah. I know you were born in St. Thomas, but you spent a lot of time in the New York, New Jersey area in the formative years.
Right.
You would eventually study drama there.
Right. Raised with my granddad. He worked for Chevron. So I was raised as an oil kid.
Yeah.
I guess. But then he died when I was 12, and that was a big turning point in my life, because before that, he was an ex-military guy. I was planning to go to Annapolis. I kept my math up. I was good at that kind of thing. We had a buddy that was Admiral of Admissions, and he said, it's a shoo-in. I can take care of it for you. And then Gordon died, and I started reading plays. And
first one you read was?
Julius Caesar. And that completely changed my life in terms of the philosophy of Stoicism, as it was explained to me by this English teacher, Brutus's approach to life. And thought, you know what, your circumstances can become extraordinarily bad, but they cannot defeat you. And that became something that I clung to, even to this day.
You see, Shakespeare is wonderful when you hear it. I read it, but I never got it from reading it in literature class. But then when I saw it the first time and heard the beauty of the spoken word and the cadence of it, I thought, man, it knocks you out.
Yeah, also it demands intelligent interpretation as well, and respect for the audience enough to the point where you don't play down with it. It drives me nuts when I go hear a Shakespeare performance once in a while, and someone's up there saying, "Oh, for the muse of fire." You know, it's implying that you're not going to get this unless I lay it out for you.
Right,
and that's the biggest mistake you can make with it. And I think that's why a lot of people aren't as enchanted with it as I am, because it should fly along like our minds do.
And when you went to high school, they had a dramatic club?
Yes.
And were you a part of that?
I did that bit.
Yeah. High school plays. Remember how great we thought we were?
I was.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah. What was your senior play?
My senior play was Medina, the Robinson Jeffers.
Sure. See,
we were very serious.
We did great stuff. We were an all-guys school, so we had to be very selective in what we did. But we did Harvey, and the aunt became an uncle. Sure. Okay. And we did Stalag 17, the classic play about that. What a wonderful piece of work.
Fantastic piece. I'd like to do that now.
So would I.
I mean, William Holden was so great in that film.
And Robert Strauss was wonderful in that film.
Yeah, it was just...
and the stage play, we went down to Chicago. I went to Marquette out in Milwaukee, and we went down to see the stage play in Chicago, and Robert Strauss was still in the company, the traveling company. And the laughter. And then when you go up on stage as a 17-year-old senior in high school, and they're laughing their sides off in the seats, man, it's like shooting up, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
It was a big high, yeah.
And then from high school right to Juilliard?
Yep. Yep.
You knew all the time. You knew you wanted to go.
Well, I knew I wanted to do something that would help people. I didn't know what that was going to be. And then I discovered that maybe this was the best chance I had. And it worked out.
And,
of course, Juilliard threw me out, but I mean...
No, did they really?
Yeah, well, I was lazy.
You know, you've had such a wonderful career as an actor, and I saw you on the Comedy Channel or somewhere talking about this man that fascinates me, Lepetame.
Oh, yes.
The man who
as you said earlier,
he fluctuates.
Passed gas for a living.
Passed gas for a living, yeah. And, you know, if they speak that way, they speak to me. And so I saw you on this show, and you had a salute to Lepetame, and then you brought on this guy, and
First time I heard him, I said, he's speaking to me.
He speaks to me. Yeah. No, I just think, I mean, this guy, and I talked with Newhart about this one night. This guy, at the height of his powers, would sit in a bathtub filled with water and empty it.
Wow.
And leave the stage.
That's extraordinary.
Quickly.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah. And
wow.
My greatest lament is that they didn't have videotape when he did all this stuff.
Yeah.
But then you put on a guy called Mr. Method.
Well, who is it? Just a sorry reflection. It's not certainly an homage in any way. Yes, but Mr. Methane, yes. This was the Showtime special from the Montreal,
Oh, right, right.
I can't think they do it in Canada up there, or well, Quebec. That I co-hosted with Brett Butler, and so I did a little speech about Lepetame.
I know,
introduced
but
this
people
guy.
knowing of my interest sent me the video cassette, and I had some laughs over it. It was very, very funny. We will continue with Kelsey Grammer. We're up and running here for Thursday, early on Friday. My name is Tom. This is the simulcast out of TV City in Hollywood, California, and the toll-free line is open to all of you at 800-95-CBS-TV. And plain numbers, that's 800-952-2788. Stand by. Here comes a station break and some commercials.
What a great day to buy a car.
I thought the days of women being treated differently than men were long gone.
This is the vanity mirror so you can check your makeup.
Then I tried to buy a car. Something reliable,
It's safe.
sporty.
How much you looking to spend?
I want to spend about $12,000.
Rich can help you out. I'll be back to you soon, okay?
When I got to Saturn, Dave Pierce took the time to answer all my questions. Not only did I buy a Saturn, I thought it might be fun to sell them. You know what I like best about working here? Showing guys the vanity mirror.
Now, Taco Bell brings you all your supreme favorites for free.
Sour cream. I want to top your taco, can't you see?
And who could forget
My tomato.
Elsewhere, you'd pay hundreds of dollars for sour cream and tomatoes. But at Taco Bell, they're free when you buy an original 59-cent taco.
Taco Man.
Taco Bell cashiers are standing by, so order today.
Friday, Under Suspicion is back with an all-new episode of Murder and Intrigue. The mysteries continue on Under Suspicion. Then, when an accident leads to rage,
You could have killed him.
can a mother face herself?
I hit him as hard as I could.
I hate you.
Picket fences after Under Suspicion Friday.
When the Wild West comes to town,
What movie?
will Chuck Norris fall to real-life bad guys?
I've been looking forward to this, Walker.
All new Walker Saturday.
One week only, friends. We're out here at Helene Chevrolet. We're on the lot right now saying $3,000 minimum trade. You heard me right. $3,000 minimum for your trade. Stop. Get on out here to Helene Chevrolet before the deadline this Monday night. Say to yourself, how much could my good trade be worth? $5,000? $10,000? Come on down and find out. $3,000 is the minimum till the deadline Monday. Helene Chevrolet, half mile west of the Great Northern Mall. Helene Chevrolet.
Look their best. American cowboys always put on their sexy specs. DOC.
Who says cowboys and cowgirls don't wear glasses? They do now.
DOC. American cowboys put on
You have my word on it.
If you're getting married, get ready to call David's Bridal, America's bridal superstore. This Sunday, by appointment only, it's our one-day $99 sale. An exciting selection of wedding gowns on sale for only $99. Plus, save on all other designer wedding gowns in sizes 4 to 26. Our entire inventory at 50% off comparable prices. For the gown of your dreams, call now for your appointment for this Sunday's $99 sale. David's Bridal, for better and for less.
We're back with Kelsey Grammer, the star of Frasier, over on the NBC television network, and joining us on the toll-free line, here is Stephanie in Hackettstown, New Jersey. Hello.
Hi.
Good evening, Stephanie.
Good. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
This is strange. I can't hear you through the television.
If you'll go turn your television set off, or the sound down, don't turn it off, but just turn the sound down. We'll do a lot better. Can you do that for me?
Sure, absolutely.
All right, okay. And do it as quickly as you can, because time is money here.
Quickly, Stephanie?
Mr. Grammer, I'd
Yes.
like to ask you, do you feel that you're as intelligent as your character Frasier? Have you learned anything from him, or?
Oh, I think Frasier's learned some stuff from me,
I
actually.
think so, yeah.
I'm a fairly well-educated person, although someone in Idaho, what was it? No, in Kansas recently referred to me as an uneducated heathen.
You're kidding.
But, well,
what, like a critic or something?
Some guy wrote a naughty letter. But I don't really wear my intelligence on my sleeve or try to impress people with it. But I think I'm a little sharper, and I probably know a little bit more about human behavior than Frasier does, but I've never been to school for it.
Like in what way? Example, knowing about human behavior.
Well, as an actor, you got to go through this stuff anyway. Pretty much acting classes are basically self-discovery classes. You do sense memories. You do a lot of exercises that are basically founded in psychiatry anyway, or analysis, certainly. And, you know, they ask you to remember when your candy bar got stolen when you were a little boy and how it made you feel. And
You're kidding me, really?
But also, part of the gift of being an actor is to figure out why people do things. And you tend to have an instinct about that if you trust it, is, as a rule, on target. If you, for instance, have to play a crazy person, their behavior cannot seem crazy to you. The only way to attack playing a crazy character is to make sure that every single thing he does makes sense to you.
I think you're a brilliant actor.
Well, thank you.
You know that. And Mr. Snyder?
Yes.
I met you years ago, going through the other network on a school tour, and I had a major crush on you, and just wanted you to know that.
Well, I hope a part of the crush continues in the proper fashion, Stephanie, and I thank you for that.
I love your show.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Good luck.
Thank you, Stephanie.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
What about the enormous glare of publicity that surrounds you because of your personal life? Does it ever get in your way? Do you ever say,
yeah.
Why? Yeah.
You know, it gets real tiresome sometimes. You get, I mean, I do look at my privacy as a casualty of the career.
Okay, that's well said,
I mean,
by the way.
and you have to, I think you have to embrace that basic truth, especially on television. I mean, you really don't have a window for a private life, although I do my best to remain as circumspect as possible. It's very hard.
Do you enjoy some parts of it? There are some parts of it that are nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I love my job. I love what I do.
No, I mean celebrity.
And I
you know,
enjoy
like when
celebrity.
Sharon paid me the little, she paid me the little compliment. Stephanie. That's, isn't that
No,
nice?
it's lovely.
Yeah, it's
when people
truly
come
nice.
up in the airport, the most genuine moments are usually some guy in an airport will come up and say, "Excuse me, thank you for making my life better for the last 10 years." What's not to like about that?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I wanted to do.
Exactly.
I wanted to save the world if I could. It's just, I wasn't Jesus. God told me that, so I didn't have to die.
Figure that out early on.
But they're still out to get me.
Okay. Back to the phone, Sharon, Las Vegas, Nevada. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how are you, Sharon?
Fine, and you?
You must be listening to us on the radio tonight.
No, I'm not.
You must have a satellite. You must have a satellite TV dish.
No, I don't.
You must have figured out we do this thing at 9:30 in Los Angeles.
Yes, I did.
There we go. One of the three is not bad. I mean, Kelsey's right here. Go ahead, please.
Okay, Kelsey, looking back on your career so far, what has been your most memorable experience or moment?
That's a tough question,
It's pretty
Sharon.
silly, actually. I was, there are a number of highlights in it. I mean, certainly winning the Emmy was a great moment in my life, but in terms of my actual experience, the most tactile memory I have is when it's late, so it's okay. I crouched down to pick up Perdita in a dance in The Winter's Tale, and I farted. And
you spoke to me.
Yes, I was speaking to Tom at this time, and it was such a sort of shot heard round the world kind of thing that the audience and the actors on stage couldn't continue for a number of moments. And that's one of them. There have been other wonderful, uplifting moments, but that's
not quite as
that's
special.
the one that's most vivid in my mind.
Not quite as vivid. Sharon, how about that for a moment, huh?
That's pretty neat.
Well, thank you, Sharon.
Yeah.
Okay, it was nice talking to you, Tom.
Nice talking to you, Sharon, and I hope you'll watch the program later on to hear yourself.
I will.
And I'll help you call about 30 or 40 friends who have Nielsen boxes to tell them that you're going to be on.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
great.
you.
Thanks for calling.
I appreciate it. What do you like to read? Are you a reader?
I tend to read, well, now, of course, I read a lot of scripts.
Yep.
And that takes up a lot of my time reading-wise. I haven't really picked up a book I really dived into for quite a while, but as a rule, what I do is I used to read the great novels. And this is something John Houseman told me to do when I was thrown out of Juilliard. This is my last speech from John. And
you know, I've forgotten him, but remember, we earn our money the old-fashioned way.
We steal it.
Yeah, you steal it.
Yeah, right. Of course we do. But John told me when I went up for my last little moment when he said, well, you know, things haven't quite worked out, but we believe in you. And he said, read the great novels. He said, you will find information about different periods of time that you'll never be able to really imagine. And you also will acquire different people in your body language and in your brain, and that's incredible ammunition for an actor if you want to have a broad kind of career. And so that I dedicated myself to that, and it was invaluable advice.
I appreciate your time tonight. I enjoy your program greatly. The writing is magnificent. Thanks. And you're terrific. In fact, the whole cast is terrific, but the dog has got to go.
The dog's out. We got something coming up. Yeah.
I had the dog on the cable show. I hated that thing.
Oh, what do you ask a dog?
Yeah. And they write letters to the dog, don't they?
Apparently, I don't.
Here's the scary part. Remember Spuds McKenzie, the beer dog?
Well, he died, you know.
I know, but before he died, he got 50,000 letters in 1 year, the dog. But here's the scary part. People thought they were going to get the answer. Yeah, the dog was going to write them back. Thank you, sir. Kelsey Grammer, Frasier, NBC TV. We're coming back with a truly amazing story, $78 million that almost got away. Time out now for this break.
Time to get up. Come on.
Later.
Wake up to Folgers Decaffeinated. It's naturally decaffeinated, but more than that, it's Folgers, with the remarkable richness of mountain-grown beans, which give it all the aroma and taste of regular Folgers to help brighten your morning. In fact, if you didn't know Folgers Decaffeinated was decaffeinated...
Coffee? I was thinking maybe we should start drinking decaffeinated coffee.
Decaffeinated? But how could a decaffeinated wake me up like this does?
Best part of waking up
Even decaffeinated.
is Folgers in your cup.
Everybody needs some money sometime.
When you need to send money fast, only Western Union lets you send it from home.
Hello? Rita.
Just call 1-800-CALL-CASH. Western Union, the fastest way to send money worldwide.
Get live with CBS on Prodigy, the nation's most popular online service. Go behind the scenes of The Late Late Show with Tom Snyder. Talk with Tom and his guests online. Tell us what you think. Get program information. Even take a special Tom Snyder trivia quiz. To order Prodigy, call 1-800-PRODIGY and ask for the CBS offer today.
Can the Protestants and Catholics who killed each other in this Irish town now learn to live with each other? For the moment, it looks like they can. 60 Minutes, Sunday.
Friends, here we are at one of America's most famous furniture factories where you can see the great values on coming to your town. Choose from over 250 living room groups from only $148. Many styles, multi-pillow back sectionals from only $298. We'll save you money because we own the factory. Free layaway until income tax refund. This weekend, only at Nationwide Warehouse, 2 locations, west and east, phone 267-8750 or 663-0770. Nationwide Warehouse.
Do me a favor. Don't scream. Just hear what I've got to say.
On
Friday, January 13th, see a tale from the crypt that is so terrifying it can only be seen at the movies. Tales from the Crypt presents...
Now you can scream.
Demon Night. Rated R.
What do you create when you open a can of soup? A noise, maybe? This was created a long time ago. You just reheat it. Now this is new Kettle Creations. Homemade taste you create fresh in 30 minutes. They even created a window so you can see all the pasta and beans. With Kettle Creations, there's a moment when you actually create the soup. You could be part of that moment. Oh, there it is. New Lipton Kettle Creations. Soup so good, it's uncanny.
Mike and Pat Kane here for Southwest Ford. Pat, I can't believe that you're a Steeler fan. No way, Mike. I went to Pittsburgh and I stole some used 94 program cars. Wow. Look at this Tempo, fully equipped, $89.95. Cheap. Fully loaded Taurus GL, power windows, power seats, got it all. Your choice of a Thunderbird LX or a Probe SE, power windows, power locks, cruise tilt, all the goodies, $11,995. You know what? For steals like that on used cars, I'd go to Pittsburgh myself. 888-2600 today.
Yeah? What do they call it, the jib?
Excellent question.
Yes, but that camera that flies all over the place is called the jib. We'll find out. Also, we run these promos for Prodigy. Is that the service? Yeah. And I have no idea how that works. Somebody asked me today, how do you join Tom on Prodigy? I have no idea, but I'll bet tomorrow we'll have a meeting about it. It's a joke, come on. But I hope they're listening in there. John Bon Jovi is on this program tomorrow night, the rock star, and Barry Minko, the carpet cleaner who got away with millions and millions of dollars of other people's money, and he's just out of jail, and tomorrow night he'll be here to tell us why. Do you ever wonder what you would do if you found millions and millions of dollars in negotiable securities? Maybe hop a plane to Rio? Listen up, folks. Last night, 2 produce workers at the Hunts Point Market in the Bronx found an incredible fortune, $78 million in negotiable traveler's checks. They join me now from the Hunts Point Terminal Market live, or as you see it, in the Bronx, New York. Here are James Bidetti and Herman Maurino. Gentlemen, good evening. James and Herman, thanks for coming on our program. Welcome to CBS. How you doing?
Good evening. How you doing?
You might as well tell the story. It all began when you fellas went to pick up that box behind you at the airport in New York last night.
Right, we sure did.
And what happened?
Oh, what happened was we had it come here from California. We had it picked up. If you notice the AKE letters that are on the container,
right?
We received the wrong container from the airlines, and Mr. Maurino opened up the container, and he'll tell you what he found.
What'd you find in there, Herman?
Well, we found the boxes weighed about 40 pounds, and they normally weigh about 3 pounds.
Before you go ahead, what did you expect to find in the boxes?
Mesclun lettuce, basil, herbs and spices from California.
Okay, produce that, you know, your people would pick up, your customers would pick up for their cooking, their sauces, whatever.
Handle.
Yeah, yeah. And so you go, and by the way, I'm sure you've checked a weigh bill by this time, and you would assume that the produce that you mentioned is in the boxes that we see, the box there, right?
Right, absolutely.
Okay, good.
So then...
I love guys from New York. Right, absolutely, right.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good.
So go ahead, Herman.
Or excellent. So anyway, we noticed that the box weighed about 40, 50 pounds. And I called Mr. Bidetti over, and we couldn't get the straps broken. It seemed like there was some security straps on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I cut open the box, and I slid out, seemed like a sleeve. And I thought what it was paperwork or binding or something.
Yeah, certainly not basil or mescaline lettuce.
No. And when I opened it up, there was $350,000 in traveler's checks in $100 denominations, and that was just one sleeve. So naturally, my legs got a little shaky.
Look me in the eye there, Herman. Come on.
What?
I say, look me in the eye there. Go ahead. Okay.
Okay,
good.
I'm looking you right in the eye.
Okay, good. And so by the time you get all through, there's $78 million in the box, right?
Right.
And these are, you could have signed your names. You could have gone right back to the airport and gone to Rio and sayonara and brought the kids and the family down and spend the rest of your life in the sun, right?
Yeah, I could have.
Yeah, but you didn't. Why?
Well, I like New York.
truth of the matter is he'll be looking over our back every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something like this.
By the way, how do we know there was really how do we know there wasn't? How do we know there wasn't $80 million in the box?
Well, the thing is, it started out.
Look at Armin. He says that's true, right?
It's true, but it started out at $9 million. Next thing I know, it's $80 million. We took a guess at it in the beginning. We really didn't count the money. When Herman took out his hand, he had like $350,000 negotiables in his hand. And I was saying, it's a lot. So let's open another box. We opened the next box to make sure it was the same thing. And when we did, we found the same thing. I, at that time, pulled it out.
Yeah.
I looked at it and I said, all right, Herman, put it back. We got enough. Well, we were joking. Let's put it in. Whose car we're going to put it in? But no, we didn't do that.
And go ahead. I'm sorry.
It was an experience that's really amazing. And we called at that time. We tried to get hold of security in the airport. Kennedy Airport at the time was 3 a.m. We couldn't get a hold of anybody, so I instructed Herman. I said, call the 41st Precinct, which is a precinct here in the Bronx. And we got a hold of Sergeant O'Connor, who came down and confiscated the money.
And he's on the way to Rio.
He's on the way to Rio, right. No.
And what bank were these drawn on, these traveler's checks?
Citibank. Citibank.
Oh, the city never sleeps, right?
No, the city never sleeps. They were selling basil today cheap. That's what they got. No, as you see the containers behind us, that's where the merchandise was.
Yeah, and we have no idea where the basil and the mescaline lettuce went, eh, Herman?
No.
Well, right now, it's right behind you.
Yeah, well, I know it is now.
Right.
But I mean, so far as last night's shipment, it
No, last night it was sitting at the airport. It stayed at the airport, and they gave us the wrong container.
Uh-huh.
And that's the container that contained the money, which was not ours. This is the one that's actually ours that was delivered today.
Oh, I see. That, then, is not the container. Now, we have, I think we have some videotape of where the money was finally placed. Brian, you want to give that a roll, and we'll take a look at it? I have no idea who this man is on the screen. Oh, that's the money in the boxes there. And I believe it's in a jail cell in New York City.
Right, exactly.
With no prisoners, and this is the safest place for the money. There's an officer holding up the traveler's checks as if we didn't know what a traveler's check looked like. You know, the end of the world. At the end of the world, when Jesus returns, we'll put Jesus Christ, and underneath it'll say Son of God, just so we know. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but sometimes TV gets in the way of good times. What is Citibank offering in terms of a reward to you fellas?
Not yet, nothing yet. We haven't heard a word.
You got to be kidding.
No, they have, but we heard on the news tonight, what I heard, that they didn't, Channel 2 News said that they wanted to tell us first before they told the News Bureau. So I guess Citibank will be getting in touch with us. I have my suitcase ready.
What would be acceptable? What do you think's fair?
I really wouldn't. It's hard to believe what they could give us or what we might even get.
Oh, I mean, what's fair?
I don't know. You give me an answer. What's fair? I don't know what's fair.
10%.
10%, 1%, even a 1/4% is fantastic. That's $250,000, 1/4%.
Gentlemen, thanks for your time tonight. Thanks for your good cheer. And thanks for being honest guys and good guys. We appreciate it. There's hope for all of us. Thanks to you both, James Bidetti and Herman Maurino. Okay. Give my regards to Broadway, fellows.
I will.
All right.
Thank you.
Good night, gentlemen.
Right.
What a great story, huh? What a great story. We had a guy on CNBC one night. Remember the guy that he found the lottery ticket? And he found a lottery ticket that belonged to somebody else. And he went on television, our show at the cable company here on CBS, whatever. He said, if the people will call me, and he gave a phone number and tell me the name on the back, I'll give the money back. And by the way, we never found out what happened there. We should check on that, but we won't. Christina Jeffrey is next up, the lady that got canned by Newt Gingrich. Wait till you find out why. We're coming right back after these announcements.
Being ranked best model in his price class in initial quality by J.D. Power and Associates puts the Geo Prism on something of a pedestal. But being priced starting at $12,050 puts Prism very much within reach. Get to know the car ranked best in its class in initial quality. Geo Prism at your Chevrolet Geo dealer.
This is our home, but it's also our business.
Cheryl and Steve Hooley, Meadowland Bed and Breakfast.
Our guests check out at noon, and new guests come in at 2. We don't have time to do things twice. We do 8, maybe 10 loads of laundry a day. That's a lot of laundry. I need all the help I can get.
Whirlpool's supercapacity washers and Tide's outstanding stain removal mean even the biggest loads get first time, every time clean.
It takes a lot of work to make it seem like it runs itself. That's the art of it.
Tide and Whirlpool, first time, every time.
Now, if we could only find a place to go on vacation.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Gotta get some rest. Tomorrow I'm pitching the coup computer account.
Me too. We're competitors.
Sorry, pal. I hear we've got the inside track.
Well, get that rest.
I will.
His stuff will do nothing for his cough.
Vicks NyQuil, the nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head fever so you can rest medicine.
I'll wait for you. I'll wait for you forever.
In the eyes of his father, in the heart of his lover, in the envy of his brother, he stood alone and became legend. Brad Pitt, Anthony Hopkins, Legends of the Fall, rated R. Now at select theaters, starts at additional theaters Friday.
Tonight, Susan Sarandon, New York Rangers' Mark Messier, and Rock Hall of Famer Al Green.
Ladies and gentlemen, please consider voting for me in the Best Actor category.
When they fall in love, they break every rule in the book.
Carolyn Paulimus was murdered last night.
What happens to a prosecutor who becomes a defendant?
The lady was bad news.
To a man who betrays his wife.
You're still obsessing.
Harrison Ford.
You will go to trial.
You think that I could do a thing like that? Presumed innocent. Sunday.
Have you seen the new Cadillac lease advertised on TV for only $4.99 a month? Well, that $4.99 a month Cadillac is only $4.59 this week at Crestmont. Yes, only $4.59 a month for just 24 months with $2,800 down at Crestmont for a brand new Cadillac. What happens at the end of 24 months? Well, your friends will still be driving their cars for 2 or 3 more years while you're selecting your '97 Cadillac. Is $4.59 a month for a new Cadillac a good deal? You bet. And a good deal more at Crestmont Cadillac, I-271 and Chagrin in Beach.
Joining us now is another person whose life changed when Newt Gingrich became powerful as Speaker of the House. This week, the new Speaker fired Christina Jeffrey as House Historian. He asked for her resignation when a controversial paper surfaced in which Jeffrey criticized a Holocaust history program because it didn't include the views of the Nazis or the Ku Klux Klan. I welcome you here, and you're not going to get beat up here. And when people first hear this, they would think, how could she possibly advocate including the views of the Nazis and the Ku Klux Klan in a study of the Holocaust? But I don't think that is the real issue, having read about you in the Washington Post today. This is not what you were attempting to do.
No, that is not what I was attempting to do, and this whole business is not new. This came up in 1987. I wrote the review in '86.
And you, what is it that you were reviewing here?
I was reviewing as a lay person, not as an academic. I was reviewing Facing History in Ourselves. It's a Holocaust education program for middle school children. And my objection to the program really wasn't, I didn't want to include actually didn't want to include anything in the program. I thought that it was badly formulated. They wanted to take little kids and say, imagine that you were in Nazi Germany. You too would have been killing Jews. You don't teach children that way.
Well, in the first place, why would the Department of Education involve itself in a program or a study like that? I mean, I have a problem here understanding what business that is for the Department of Education.
Well, they give grants, and they give grants for new ideas. Now, of course, that was another problem with Facing History. There was nothing new about it. I mean, it was an old program that had been around quite a while. But some of the other things that I reviewed were kind of nifty, like there was a computer program for teaching kids how to do banking.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, it was neat.
Yeah,
you know,
okay. Like checkbooks and stuff like that? Okay, that's fine, that's fine.
And there was another program on how to teach adults to read, a literacy program.
Okay, that's fine.
And these were little grants that would help you to disseminate. You have this great idea, like how to teach kids how to produce TV.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
And so you get this little grant.
We could use that here, right on the stage. Yeah,
Right.
that'd be good.
And you could bring an intern. It'd be a good program. And so you want to disseminate it to other schools. And these were small grants that would help you to disseminate it to the schools.
Now, why would you, looking back on this, and it's hard for me to believe that this happened 9 years ago and that it's finally surfacing now.
No, it's not finally surfacing. It surfaced in '87 when the grant got turned down again. It got turned down in '86, got turned down in '87. They blamed me for it in '87. I didn't review it in '87. They blamed me for it in '88, and they finally had a congressional hearing. And Congressman Charlie Schumer, whatever his name is,
me.
And the late Ted Weiss and Barney Frank, they were all there. They had a field day. They just beat up on me big time, blamed me for everything. And,
well, why wouldn't they?
But they didn't invite me. I didn't get to be there.
You didn't get to go to your own hanging?
I didn't get to go to my own hanging.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you a question. Why did they nail you now?
Oh, they nailed me now.
They could have nailed you back in '87, right?
They tried to nail me in '87. I was completely vindicated. I was vindicated by the Department of Education. They wrote me an apology.
Gotcha.
I was vindicated in the Jewish press. I am totally vindicated in the academic community. I use this as an example of how Washington works in my classes. Everybody knows this, that this is a part of my history.
You wrote something that was politically incorrect.
That's
is
right.
What you did.
This is political incorrectness.
Okay, let me.
If you're guilty of it, you have to die.
Well, you don't have to die, but you certainly don't get to work as the House historian anymore,
certainly,
do you?
definitely not. Right.
And have you talked to Mr. Gingrich about this, to Newt?
I talked with him about midnight on Monday night.
And what did he say?
And he said, I mean, he just was torn up about it. He said, once they are after you this way and they've got something, because they've been after me since when he fired the old House historian, that man picked up the phone and said, the House historian's office has been abolished. It's like, if you got fired, CBS said, you called up and said CBS had been abolished. Very arrogant.
Yeah, from your mouth to God's ear.
It's complete, Washington elitism. And then when they found out that I had been appointed, well, who is she? She must be a crony. She must be a shill. She certainly couldn't be qualified.
What I'm
University
getting here,
of Alabama, my goodness.
What I'm getting to here is probably at the end of the conversation, Newt said, bye-bye.
No. He really didn't. He said, he really basically left it up to me. This is a real problem, and we had our first political discussion. We'd never talked politics before.
Let me do a fast commercial with former House Historian Christina Jeffrey, back with your phone calls at 800-95-CBS-TV after a fast timeout. Go.
How fast can you begin to feel relief from a cold? Depends. How fast can you open a Halls with vapor action? Halls Vapor Action means instant action. Only from the halls of medicine.
Chew on this. Down in Austin, the hottest places to eat ribs are the hardest places to brush your teeth. Now chew on this. Chewing Trident with NutraSweet after meals can actually help you fight cavities. So when you can't brush, chew on this. Trident.
We've been called a lot of things. Whippersnappers!
Dreamers! Prosperous?
Never!
So and Phil.
The book deal.
Or the movie deal hits.
We remember two things. Call everybody collect.
And
know the code.
Yeah.
Know the code. 1-800-CALL-ATT. It costs less than 1-800-COLLECT. Always.
Now the people we call
might call us thrifty.
Want a price that's always lower than 1-800-COLLECT? Know the code. Dial 1-800-CALLATT.
Your true voice.
I want to know about meeting that special someone.
Sorry, can't help you there.
I want to know more about a diet I can live with.
No way, not in this commercial.
I want to know more about Rogaine.
Rogaine with minoxidil?
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Okay. Just call this number now for a free information kit on Rogaine topical solution. It could help answer your question because it's filled with all kinds of facts about Rogaine. And because you need a prescription to get Rogaine, we'll send you a list of local doctors and special money-saving offers to help you decide if Rogaine is right for you.
But I want to know right now.
We'll to you today. So what are you waiting for? Call now for your free information kit. Call 1-800-317-2255.
Need money for a new car? Ohio Auto Credit can help. If you can answer yes to these 3 questions, you are on your way to a new car or truck. Can you afford a minimum down payment? Do you have a job or steady income? Do you have an immediate need for a car today? In less than 4 hours from receipt of your application, you'll be on your way. So don't delay. Operators are on duty 24 hours a day to answer your questions. Call Ohio Auto Credit Help now. 1-800-393-CREDIT. 1-800-393-CREDIT. Because your credit is not as bad as you think.
It's time to get the message out to criminals. Guardian Protection will install a professional, police-directed alarm in your home absolutely free. No gimmick. All you pay is our standard $24.95 monthly monitoring fee. Plus, I'll guarantee you'll be 100% satisfied in the first 30 days, or I'll remove it. So call 1-800-PROTECT. That's 1-800-PROTECT. Guardian Protection's free installation. America's best alarm value, period.
We're back with Christina Jeffrey, who at one time was the historian of the House. What does that job entail? You kind of keep a running log of what happens there, and it becomes part of the history? Would that be it?
Can I say something first? I want to.
You already have, but say some more.
Yeah. I want to say one thing though,
sure.
because you know there are people out there who because of some of the press coverage, think that there was an anti-Semite in the House Historian's office and a racist and so forth, and I believe that the Holocaust was the worst outrage of civilization, and that racism is the biggest blot on otherwise a pretty good history of America, and that's what I teach in my classes. So I just wanted to say that.
You are a teacher, is that correct?
I'm a professor.
You have a job now as a professor?
Well, my college wants me back whenever I can.
That's wonderful to hear.
Yeah.
And your college is?
Kennesaw State College.
You live in Kennesaw, Georgia.
That's right. That's why I live in Kennesaw.
They banned all the guns, or everybody has to have
guns. Au contraire, we all have guns.
And how's the crime rate?
We don't have any crime rate.
Really?
Yeah, bad guys don't come to Kennesaw. They go to Washington, D.C., where they don't need guns to kill people.
The program, as you wrote back in 1987, is that correct?
That's right.
The program gives no evidence of balance or objectivity. The Nazi point of view, however unpopular, is still a point of view that is not presented. Why would you even write that?
Well,
you know that's politically charged.
I don't know.
It's politically incorrect, and you work in a political town, Washington.
I would try to explain that, except for this. I was reading on the plane that every 9 years you are completely remade. You're not the same person you were 9 years ago, so I'm not the same person who wrote those remarks, so I don't have to explain them.
Here is, if you could have gotten that kind of humor into the review, you might still be there. Here is Sheila in Lebanon, Missouri. Hello. That'd be dial tone from Lebanon, Missouri that we hear right now. So you plan to go back to work at your college, Kennesaw College?
Sure. I'm a tenured professor.
And a professor of?
Of political science. I teach American government, public policy, and public administration.
And we were talking about Newt Gingrich. You said that he said, you know, when something like this comes up, it's baggage that's very, very difficult to defend. And I said, did he say to you, bye-bye? And you said, no, he did not. The story came out, or at least I have presented the story in a fashion that would indicate that Newt Gingrich fired you. Is that a correct or incorrect statement?
Well, it's really incorrect because I'm resigning as House Historian because I cannot be in a position to take Gingrich's.
You know, it's great. Hey, Newton, you can't fire me. I quit.
Well, I have to quit. I have to quit. I came to help.
You don't need that aggravation anyway.
Yeah, I came to help. You know, it's better not working if you can get away with it.
Sharon in Aurora, Wisconsin. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how are you, Sharon?
I'm fine, how are you?
Say hi to Christina. She's right here. We're down to time here, kid.
Oh, hi, Christina.
Hi.
You stated earlier that that Newt Gingrich did not really fire you.
That's right.
If he didn't fire you, who did?
She quit.
I quit.
You quit. Well, good for you.
Take this job and shove it.
Well, you know, that's true. I mean, it seems to me that the trend on Capitol Hill anymore is to butcher women.
You noticed?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Ever since Anita Hill.
Well, you know, but if this had been a little bit different, if there had been Republican men beating up on a Democratic woman, the reaction in the media would have been immediately just like the Anita Hill reaction. Anita Hill is held up as a wonderful example of womanhood, whereas I'm held up as an anti-Semite and a racist. So there is a little difference here.
Christina, I don't believe that in the long run that's going to be true. Personally, I didn't see really anything wrong with your comments on that program. And I think, personally, if we don't teach children the point of view that the Nazis and Ku Klux Klan hold, how are they to learn not to, without understanding that?
Point.
How are they to learn not to?
Point.
Right.
Sharon, I'm glad you called. I'm really out of time, my friend, and I have to move along, but thanks for joining our program.
You bet.
And thanks for watching us. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And thank you for making the trek from Washington or Kennesaw or wherever it was to join us. And back to school now, and don't lose your smile.
Thank you.
All right. And give my best to Newt and his mom and dad. Back in just a moment here to wrap it up for the early hours of Friday the 13th after these messages.
Friday the 13th.
First thing you gotta remember about Disney World is to pace yourself. If you try to do it all at once, you'll be sleeping like a baby by lunchtime. Number 2, don't eat right before you go on Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Number 3, Goofy is huge. Goofy could beat up Dad. I guess that's it. You're gonna love this place, Larry. It really brings out the kid in you.
Call 1-407-WDisney and make the dream come true.
We'll be leaving in about 3 weeks.
Order anything here at the cafe, and you'll be assured of one thing: light-tasting, delicious food. Because I'm cooking with something new. Crisco Natural Blend. A blend of pure canola and vegetable oils that reflects today's light living. With only 1 gram of saturated fat. I thought the leading blend was light, but this is lighter in color and taste. So bring in a healthy appetite. And remember, light taste is your order of the day.
Crisco Natural Blend. Because cooks who know, trust Crisco.
This summer, we invited everyone who owns a Saturn to visit Spring Hill, a Saturn homecoming. They could see where their cars were built and meet the people who built them. We could thank them for believing in us. 44,000 people spent their vacations with us at a car plant. Of course, not everything went exactly as planned, but we were all in it together, the way we always have been.
Everybody needs some money somehow.
When you need to send money fast, only Western Union lets you send it from home.
Hello?
Rita. Just call 1-800-CALL-CASH. Western Union, the fastest way to send money worldwide.
Sugar. Honey, honey.
Why take a cough drop that's mostly sugar? With you can take nice. Same medicine.
No, sugar.
He's there for me as a coach.
I mean, you empty waste baskets, run errands, wash our cars and everything.
Wow!
Yeah, that's a big deal.
He's there for me as a boss.
You think I'm a nice guy?
Oh.
Okay, then.
He's even there for me as a friend. Well, when you're meeting your girlfriend's parents, and they don't like you in the first place, killing their dog is like the worst thing you could do. Now he's there for you, 5 times a week. Coach!
Weekdays at 5:30 on 19.
Okay, Cleveland, does this look familiar? Well, it ought to. Be ready this year. Come to Automatic Auto Sales, where you can rent to own and reestablish your credit through a real bank. Why take the bus when you can drive for almost the same money? All you need is a steady job and proof of residency. We care about you. All our cars are warranted for 90 days or 3,000 miles at no charge. Mention this ad and get an additional $150 off the price of your car. Come to Automatic Auto Sales on Vine Street in Eastlake. Do it now.
You know, in the East Coast, it is now Friday the 13th, and I suggested to staff that we come out here and break some mirrors and walk under ladders and raise umbrellas indoors. And they said, Tom, why tempt it, you know, just considering how it's gone this week. Tomorrow night, John Bon Jovi and Barry Minko back tomorrow night, same time, same station. Thank you all for watching. Drive safely on the way home, and sleep tight, America.
First, they were hot. Now they're legends. Later tonight, the honor roll of rock and roll. Plus, the Wolves return to Yellowstone on CBS News Up to the Minute.
Unbridled passion, betrayal, and beautiful people.
in their underwear?
Now that is television.
Know this murder? Diagnosis Murder, Friday. This is CBS.
When it comes to combos, Wendy's $2.99 single combo is a great choice.
It's a quarter-pound of fresh beef, not frozen, served hot off the grill. And no one gives you more fresh toppings to choose from. Plus, you get biggie fries and a 20-ounce drink. And now, choose Wendy's, and you can win a vacation to the destination of your choice on American Airlines, Caribbean, or thousands of food prizes. It's the Wendy's made-to-order vacation giveaway.
Grandma!
Just peel, and you could win instantly.
Nobody else can give you choices this good.
Nashville.
A luxury car is supposed to be powerful, comfortable, stylish, smooth, and expensive. 4 out of 5 ain't bad. The Nissan Altima. Now lease the Altima GXE for $239 a month, $1,250 down for 36 months.